In Afghanistan's capital Kabul, where there are only a limited number of public parks, recently a historic garden and palace after rehabilitation opened to public. This is Chihilsitoon Garden and Palace, which means 40 columns, is located in the southwest of Kabul. The fortress palace was built in 1796 and it is Kabul's largest historic public garden. The garden was heavily damaged in 1979 to 1980. The site remained unused and neglected the years that followed. Even the garden was usually occupied by stray boys or drug addicts, and some part of that changed to garbage storage. But the rehabilitation of this garden and palace began in 2015 by an international organization named Aga Khan Trust for Culture and completed in September 2018. The castle of Chihilsitoon was used as a state-owned guest house before its destruction and welcomed foreign guests. The palace was a place for visit by kings and presidents of foreign countries. The landscape of the site, which contains extensive vegetation including mature evergreen trees, continues to be used by the general public for basic recreational and sports activities and forms one of the most important public gardens in the city. Now I have Mr. Amanullah Sahibzada, the General Manager for Kabul Historic Gardens Trust, with me here. Thank you, Mr. Sahibzada. Can you introduce yourself, please, and also brief us shortly about this garden?
Thank you very much, sir. I am Amanullah Sahibzada, and I am the manager of Kabul Historic Gardens Trust. The garden you are here now is called Chihilsitoon Garden. Chihilsitoon means 40 columns. The garden established in mid-18th century at the time of King Zaman Shah, who is the son of King Timur Shah. And later on, a benchmark, a very important benchmark added to this garden called Chihilsitoon Palace, which means 40 columns. This palace located right behind me on the top of a rocky hill, which was built later at the time of King Amir Habibullah Khan. It was almost late of 18th century. And of course, during the passage of time, this palace has many transformation in terms of its structure. So from the having 40 columns, it changed to a more linear rectangular building, which looks right now. During King Zahir Shah, this palace used for residing and hosting of very high government officials. And unfortunately, during civil war in 1990s, the palace looted, burned, and most than half destructed. We were very lucky that with the help of government of Germany, who fund generously this garden, the Aga Khan Trust for Culture start a kind of initiative with the government of Afghanistan, and which ended with the signature of a memorandum of understanding to use this fund and rehabilitate the garden. And in 2015, the initial restoration of the garden started from the cleaning of the garden from the rubbish and inappropriate stone or cement structures. So the overall restoration of the garden took right about 3.5 years. All laborers and skilled laborers, engineers were Afghan, locally employed, and they, in the light of evidence pictures, studies, searches, and old materials, they rehabilitated the garden on the way almost it was before. Specifically, the historic palace was restored on the way it was before. So we try to preserve whatever is possible, and we restore those missing portion which was destroyed during the Civil War. After 3.5 extensive years of restoration and almost everyday work here, like about 800 laborers and skilled laborers and engineers, finally the garden was completed. The garden was also part of the garden was renovated. So new building added to the garden, because the garden is a public entity, and all people from the Afghanistan, from the Kabul city, are allowed and they are welcome to visit the garden. Therefore, in order to accommodate them very well, there was newly building restored and constructed in this garden. So we built new exhibition hall, we built so many entrances, we built amphitheater for the public events, we built auditorium for hosting inauguration ceremonies, and also many other facilities, including sport facilities, which is the need of our younger generation. We are very lucky now that after full restoration, we signed an agreement with the government of Afghanistan, mainly represented by the Kabul municipality and the Ministry of Information and Culture and the Han Development Network, to continue the management and operation on the garden of Chihilsitoon by the Kabul Historic Garden Trust. This trust is an independent, non-government organization in form of national NGO, which is registered with the government of Afghanistan, with the Ministry of Economy. The objectives of this trust is to welcome the noble citizen of Afghanistan and Kabul city specifically to the garden, to manage them, to carry the maintenance of the facilities, historic and non-historic, built in the garden during the last 3.5 years, and to, which is the most important as well, maintain financial sustainability for the garden. It means that we have the authorization from the government to generate revenue from the garden sources, which is divided in 3 to 4 categories. We charge our visitors at the entrances. We have so many facilities in form of shops and canteens. So our vendors come here and provide services to our visitors, food, beverages, drinks, and non-food items as well. We also have very good facilities, and like I named them before, we have exhibition hall, amphitheater, auditorium, palace itself, where our host, our colleagues and the government, embassies, foreigners, companies, businesses may have here organize their events, cultural events, social events, and educational events. So all this will be charged, and all this account will be accounted and will accumulate a good revenue for the future operation and maintenance of the garden.
Now we are inside the palace. I want to ask from Mr. Sahibzada that during the reconstruction of this site, how did you preserve the historical values of this site?
Well, as per international charters of preservation of historic monuments, it's very must to preserve whatever is remain from the past and to complete just the missing portions. So looking to this principle, we also are very keen and very careful to preserve all portion of walls, staircases, floorings, columns that was in good condition. And we try to inspire from the existing portion of the structure and complete the missing portion. you might see these staircases. They are visible in two colors, the dark color, the gray color, and the new one. So the new one is the missing portion. So during the war, some bullets fall here and shot here and remove some portion of the staircases. But the rest is luckily remain safe. That's why we cut the missing portions and replace with the new one and preserve the old one. So with this standard, we continue our work in this historic building.
Yes, you can see this part. This is the original or the old part of this, and yeah, and this is the new one. They mixed. And can you introduce this part for us?
So this is the main hall of this palace. It's around about 160 square meter. We're supposed to organize our main meetings and gatherings here. In terms of its history, again, this is the hall that received the most damages and the most destruction. However, some part of the wall, you can see the front wall, the brick portion was safe and okay. So we kept that as it was, while the northern and the southern portion was almost totally destroyed. So we kept those portions which was okay, and we complete the missing portions. The same way you can see to the flooring, you can see the different color of the marble on the flooring, specifically on the corners. So they were originally laid out here, and during the restoration they were hidden under gypsum, so they cannot be, or they should not be destroyed more. And once we completed the other work, we came here and removed those gypsum from the top of these marbles, and looking to them, we complete the missing portion with the different colors. So,
And how about this bricks? This is the original part of it, or you renew that?
the bricks work is fine work, and it is original work. They looks in the past like they looks today. That's why we do not cover them, and we leave them visible. So everybody can understand the structure, the type of bricks that were used in the original time of the structure of this building. Minimum time, you can see to the front, the chimney that goes up. It is the traditional kind of heating system in Afghanistan, mainly used in wealthy people houses and palaces.
I want to ask that why this palace called 40 columns? And where is 40 columns here?
This palace called, like in Dari language, Chihilsitoon, which is mean translated in English 40 columns, because essentially the building, when it was built, in its three sides, like southern side, eastern side, and northern side, it was surrounded by columns. And the number of columns reached to 40, that's why this name derived is from this 40 columns. Unfortunately, during the passage of time, the majority number of these columns missed. But however, we were very, very lucky that at least 3 columns of that time remain to date.
Can we see that?
Yes, please follow me. We have 2 of them here. We have, of those original columns, 2 of them here. They are cylinder-wise in terms of shape. They are pure marble of white colors, and they are, in terms of section, they have circle-type sections. So this one pair here and one more exists alone standing here. So we preserve them, and yes, but we could not restore the remaining number of columns. So there was actually no need for that. Instead, we built other type of columns, which is more rectangular form. Actually, the palace of Chihilsitoon built on a rocky hill, which is located almost in the middle of the Chihilsitoon Garden. The height is about 17 meters, and it's mostly stone. You can see this is the portion that remaining visible, and we kept it also visible so our audience can understand what was the originally and how was the original looks like. So actually, the top of this hall, of this hill, in the middle of the upper hall. So this is just the edges. We do not kept it hide. We just kept it exposed to the audience, so everybody can understand the nature of the hill. So it is not silly hill. It was mainly rock, and that's why this resistable and it was very good for the construction. To the other side, you can see the original foundation of the building.
Okay, right now we are in the front side of the palace. Here Mr. Sahibzada will give us more details about the walls, about the contrast which exists in the walls.
Well, I'm very interested to describe for you the type of construction that we made here. You can see here the red color of plastering. This is very thick plaster made of mainly lime, sand, but right now you can see the top portion is missing a plaster. So it means that we kept the older plaster on mainly on the red color. That's why this palace also now as a red palace as well, due to red color. But the top portion which was missing, which was destroyed, we did not cover it back with the plaster, the same kind of plaster. We leave it exposed, so the visible and the new work will be visible.
Today is a public holiday in Afghanistan, and lots of people, including the women and children, came here in this garden to enjoy. I have Mr. Sulaiman, one of those guys who came here with his family. Hello, Mr. Sulaiman. Thank you. Why you came here today?
Today I came here for join for my holiday with my family.
And how you did find this garden?
Today I find this place very good and with new people, with new nature, with new habits, with good behavior of people and their people.
How was the behavior of the people, including the security guards?
The security guards, they're about their habits and their behavior with us. It was good and extraordinary with us.
And do you have any information about this garden and also this palace?
Yes, I can say information about this place because it is a very ancient place of Kabul and place of Chihilsitoon. Its name is place of Chihilsitoon because they are making new, but in past it was demolished by bad peoples. They are make it bad, but now the unions or camp are making this a good place for the Afghanistan people joy from their holiday and they are coming for joining.
Mr. Suleiman, as you know, in Afghanistan, people are faced with the lack of entertainment facilities and also the public parks. The reconstruction of this site, how paved the way for people to have access to the public parks?
I just have one request from our government that they have attention for these parks, for other parks also without this park. Because in Afghanistan we don't have any safe place because everywhere we when go there we are disturbing the people, disturb people us. But now I found here safe because there's no person that disturb us and every person have busy with their family and their friends and.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, with this we will end our report from here, Afghanistan's historic garden, Chihilsitoon. To have more programs like this, please like our page on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe our channels and YouTube channels. Until the next program from Afghanistan, goodbye and see you.